do it is through flow, right? Oh, so I'm so excited to talk about flow. So flow in the positive psychology world, it's synonymous with play and what actually happens to your brain when you're in a flow state. Right. So usually when you're in a beta state, a normal state, your inner critic is super loud. So when you're in a flow state, actually what is happening to your brain is you go through something called transient hypofrontality. And transient is temporary. Hypo is under activity. So actually your prefrontal cortex actually shuts down a bit. And then and the frontality is what's happening in this prefrontal cortex. So when that actually occurs, all of a sudden your inner critic dissipates. It gets quiet. And when it actually gets quiet, you get this shot of dopamine and you become highly curious. And all of a sudden, instead of you being fixated on one result, you see all of the options that are in front of you. All of these ways. And you felt this way when you've traveled and you're just saying yes to everything. Yes, I'll have another mimosa. Yes, I'll hop on this moped that's going to take me to a deserted island. Yes, I will dance under the moonlight. And all of a sudden you meet the love of your life. You're in this state of flow. And what happens when you're in a state of flow, you also are 500% more productive. And what also happens is because your prefrontal cortex, part of it is shutting down, it actually distorts time, right? So how can you actually get into that flow state? Let's dive into that. So what happens to get into the flow state is you actually have to first calm yourself down. I learned this from my play mentor, Gwen Gordon, who talked about how you first have to soothe yourself. You have to actually calm yourself down because you can't play in an anxiety-ridden state. You can't play when you're angry. You can't play when you're sad. So you have to, what actually calms you down? And you learn how to cope from the person that took care of you the most. So if you adopted their coping mechanisms and they weren't healthy, then you might still have those. So you have to identify, okay, what soothes me? When I take a shower, I have a lot of ideas. When I go for a walk, when I dance in costume, I have a lot of ideas. Okay, so first identify what actually soothes you. And then after you do that, then the second thing, and this is going to sound a bit weird, but I'm challenging you to get bored. Yes, the play guy is telling you to get bored. Bored the way you felt like when you were a kid. And then you would have all those mischievous ideas. How do you get bored? Shut off Netflix, shut off YouTube, whatever, stop looking at social media, stop looking at emails. And I'm not saying forever. I'm talking about like 30 minutes to an hour. Oh my gosh, that seems so long. You're on your phone 5 hours a day. You can go 30 minutes to an hour without your phone. And then what happens? This mischievous idea starts showing up and your inner critic gets quiet and your inner child starts to whisper you all these ideas, and these ideas are going to show up, and then all of a sudden they start whispering you nerve-cited ideas that both make you nervous and excited, such as, ooh, make that video. Reach out to that person that you've been wanting to reach out to for so long. Ooh, write that article that you've always been writing to. Ask for that raise you've been asking for. Start that side business, like whatever the crazy idea, just let it show up. Just listen to what it has to say. And then the next thing that actually comes up after that, and I love Janisa, yes, nerve-cited, I love it as well, is then you actually take action on it. And it doesn't matter about the results. Like, let's say you write the email that you write to someone that you've always wanted to write, and they never write you back. It doesn't matter what the result is, because the simple act of doing something where you're jumping into this pool of uncertainty allows you to expand and actually fall into flow. You actually fall into it that way. So that's the really amazing part of each time you take a risk, regardless of the outcome. So when I made that video, it gave me permission to play in other ways and hop on podcasts and do all these other things. So just see where this actually might take you. It's going to take you to an actually really a magical place.